And I come home and it's like, yeah, 3 in the morning. Courtney Love is scattered all over the cage. Like, these two fought each other to death.
Hey guys, it's me! And me spelled backwards is M, and that's me! And my friend Pretzel here! I'm Pretzel! Today, we're gonna talk about childhood pet stories.
Yes, and if you like childhood traumatic pet stories, I highly suggest you hit that subscribe button because you are gonna be sad.
She's already told me like a little piece of it, and I might insert a clip.
Gerbils that ate each other alive, and then I had a dog that I watched get squished by a cement mixer.
That's a thing that happened. So we're gonna talk a little bit more in depth about that. Do you want to start, or should I start?
Well, how many pet stories do you have?
I'm probably gonna, maybe like 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, I've got 2, so I guess we can go back and forth. All right, you wanna go? You wanna go?
Okay, I'll go first.
Okay.
Mine are traumatic. Is it funny? I don't know. Like,
I guess we'll find out.
we're gonna find out. Like,
Viewers can let us know if it's funny.
Yeah. So this is about the hamster that I used to have, because we were talking about this. We were talking about, okay, this is what brought on this whole like video idea anyways. When I was, how old was I? I was probably like 13, 14-ish years old, and my pet parakeet like had just died. Okay, if anybody's gonna get like on me about like having a pet parakeet, I was really young, okay? So I wasn't thinking about like it's bad to like have birds in like a cage. Like birds like are supposed to be like able to fly around. Like,
Is it bad to have birds in a cage?
apparently, yeah.
Oh.
I understand like the point of it, because like, yeah, a lot of times like when you get like pet birds, like pet parakeets and stuff, like you cut off a part of their wings, so that sucks. And then on top of that, like, you know, they're in a small cage, like unless you happen to have like a ginormous cage, like if you're rich or whatever, right? But we weren't. So my pet parakeet had just died, and I was really, really sad because it was like seriously my best friend. Okay, at that time I was like, well, what do I do now? I want to get another pet, because like I didn't really have any friends and I needed like something to come home to. We went to the pet store, and like I was pretty sure like I wanted to get a hamster. The first night was kind of weird. I kind of hadn't really figured out the whole like nocturnal thing. I didn't know what that meant at the time. I'm like 13 years old. Like, how am I supposed to know like that they're like, you know, up all night, and like I'm gonna be up all night too. The first things first is that this hamster was a little cuckoo, okay? Like, it would gather up like all the little like bits of like what do they call that? Like little paper
stuff.
It would like make it, so it was like nesting, and then it would put it in like the hamster wheel though, like in the little thing, and it also had, there was like a little tube and stuff like that, and there was like a tower. This hamster was a girl. We called it Susie. We thought it was pregnant because it was like nesting. It wasn't pregnant. It was crazy. But that's not the thing. It was like, so remember how I mentioned that like there was a tower and it had like this little thing that you like popped up. The hamster was like constantly gnawing at like the plastic. It's like literally trying to escape. So all night, like that's like all I'm hearing is just like it trying to escape. And I'm like, oh my god, this is so frustrating, because I actually have to go to school and then I have to like not be here. I don't know what this thing is capable of doing, and I'm like legitimately like terrified that this thing is gonna actually escape. This thing had like the most, I don't know if it had like a mate somewhere that like we took it away from, and it wanted to like go back to like where it came from, but like
It's so romantic.
I'm coming for you, babe.
Nothing can keep us apart.
It was determined. Eventually it started to actually like, it was chewing a hole through, and we're like, oh no. So eventually like it was starting to like get its little head poked out, and then it got up to like the tower thing, and this was where things started to really take a weird turn. It started hanging out a lot in that tower. One day I look over, and that little mother effer got out. It didn't leave, but it was free. It could have done anything at that time, but like I caught it.
Crawled up your legs.
Oh my god, that would have been so bad. Like, what we ended up, this is hilarious. I can't believe that we actually went to these measures. I was like, okay, I don't want this in my room when I'm not in my room. So I started like I put it in the kitchen. Me and my brother were in the living room and we put like a bunch of books on top of the thing to keep it like closed. Me and my brother are watching something in the living room and all of a sudden we hear and all the books freaking fell over because this hamster is Arnold Schwarzenegger. I don't know.
Did it himself?
She did it herself, yeah.
I am woman.
I don't know what like steroids they like did. How did that little tiny little hamster
Making a statement.
what ended up happening was we couldn't do it anymore, you guys. My dad was like, look, we can't keep this hamster. At one point it's gonna get loose and we're gonna end up finding hamster pee and poop all over the place and there's gonna be a little rodent like running around the house, right? It's gonna be causing like damage. It's probably gonna be like, you know, gnawing on cords and things like that. So tomorrow I'm gonna have to take it somewhere and let it free. And I'm like, okay. I was totally fine with it. I was like, at that point, I was like done with the anxiety. My dad took the hamster, little Susie, and put it in the ball, like the little hamster ball. And then he put it in a paper bag. My dad is driving to work. His drive to work had like, there were a lot of like open fields. On his way there in his brand new like Ford Explorer that he had just gotten, he's like checking on it and all of a sudden he looks over and he's like, that little mother effer. I don't know what kind of hamster they sold us, but it got out of the ball and it chewed a hole through the bag. Then it was just looking at him as he's driving. It's just looking at him like, okay,
His
well.
beady little eyes.
And so my dad, he just quickly pulled over to the side and he opens the door. When he was telling this story, like, and he's being really dramatic, but like I totally believe that like all of this happened. He said he opened the door and he's telling us that Susie's just looking at him like, you're free, like what are you waiting for? And he has to kind of like shoo it out of the car and then he closed the door and drives off and we don't know what happened to little Susie. Take the wheel.
You guys ready for some trauma? All right, so when I was in grade 7, my parents got us our first dog and we've been begging for so long. And we finally got this dog and we were so excited, but this dog turned out to be the spawn of
Satan.
This dog would bite, growl, shit everywhere. Can I swear? You would go to like hug him or pick him up and he's just... It was not a nice, cuddly dog. So, just to add insult to injury, it was Valentine's Day. And, you know, I didn't have any friends in grade 7. I was a little sad. So, I went home at lunchtime and said to my puppy, he was kind of in a good mood, I'm like, and he just kind of...
Oh, that's so sweet.
So at the end of lunch, my brother opened the front door and the dog just out the front door, just like took right off. Never seen a dog run so fast. Well, clearly he hated us.
What kind of dog was it?
It was this tiny, fluffy white, like just mess. It was just like this tiny white growly.
Was it cute? If it wasn't
Well,
like
it had like
growly?
the snaggletooth,
Oh.
but like it could have been cute. Like, you know, he pushed his hair back. Anyway, so this dog just takes off full speed, and I'm outside watching this. I'm like, oh god, because he's escaped how many times? I'm like, okay, he's gonna come back. He's running around. He's on the middle of the road, and incoming is a cement mixer. They were doing construction nearby, so it was coming, and the dog looked directly at the cement mixer, and instead of, you know, moving, he goes, woo, like right towards it. I was like holding my breath, like just watching this all happen, hoping he's not gonna get hit. Swerving in and out of the wheels, and then like very last one, it was so bad, like his liver was on the wheel. And my little brother and I are sitting there just screaming. We're like, oh my god! The driver gets out of the car and he's like, oh my god, I'm so sorry. And it's not like he was the most beloved pet that we miss so dearly. But like, oh, and the best part, or the worst part, was it was winter time. So all his remains were all just in the ice and the snow outside. So like we walked to school in the morning and there's like our dog's remains that we had to walk past. My dad's out there chipping it out of the
Oh my god. Oh god.
Get pieces of the dog out of the road. Yes, it was very traumatic and gory. So by default, my parents got us a new dog. It's been the best dog, and he's been with us for like 18 years now. So.
Oh, is that the one that I met like when I was in wherever, you know?
Probably, yeah. Yeah, no, and he's the best dog ever. Something good came out of that, at least. You gotta look for the silver linings of watching your puppy get smooshed.
You know what, though, like, that kind of reminds me of, like, when I went to Winnipeg to see my boyfriend. We went for a walk, and there was a roadkill, like, just a few houses down, and so we would literally just, like, walk around it. That thing left a freaking blood stain on the ground. It was pretty gross. So every time we would go like get stuff, because we would always like go get snacks or whatever, we always were looking out for it, and we would just like walk around it. At one point it started like gradually like moving like closer and closer to like the sidewalk area. Okay, so the next story is again another rodent. Like, I don't know what it was with me and rodents, but like, okay.
Every rodent story ends tragically, I swear to God.
Now this is pretty much like my fault though. This is just me being like a fucking kid. Me and my best friend at the time, we used to go to the pet store all the time. We just wanted to look at the pets, and one of these days as we were doing that, we saw like where all the mice were. Mm-hmm. And the mice are not like, they're not pet mice, they're not rats, they're mice. They're meant to be snake food. We didn't care. They were so cute. You know, I definitely named one of them Fievel. It's funny.
Bible?
Fievel.
Oh.
Like, you know, like from like American Tail?
Yeah.
I think I got like one to start, and then my best friend, she got one as well. And her mom wasn't okay with it, so I ended up being like, I guess I'll just, you know, take it. Didn't even bother to ask my dad or my mom. That's the other thing too, is like, I did not bother to ask my mom or dad for permission to do this. I'm like, I'm bringing home some pets. Like, it's just, yeah. The worst part about it too is that like, yeah, I wasn't even there for like most of it. Because I used to spend the night at like my best friend's house, like all the time. I basically lived there. And then we went back to the pet store because reasons, and I saw more adorable mice that we wanted to take home. And for some reason, again, like she brought more home. My friend, like,
just start filling your pockets, or like
they were $1. Okay, who could resist? How do you say no to $1 mice?
That's the next thing that's going on my board. How do you say no to $1 mice?
Anyways, so I had to somehow like tell my dad that I'm bringing home more, because also not only am I bringing home mine, but now I'm also bringing home my friends.
Oh, they're gonna start making babies.
I wish that was the story. That sounds like a much funner story.
Oh, I thought they were just gonna multiply and multiply.
Yeah, so again, like, I'm trying to, like, I'm phoning my dad. I need to, like, work up the courage to be like, yo, I'm bringing home more mice. Especially because, like, best friend, like, she's not allowed to have them. Her mom said no. Which is funny, because it's like, her mom said no. My dad was not allowed to say no, though. My dad is cooler than your mom. Like, he wasn't happy about it. Like, he was having none of it. But I was like, dude, like, we can't just, like, not, like, we can't take them back, right? We're not just gonna, like, you know, leave them. Well, this is funny because this is after Susie. Yeah, I phoned my dad. He was not happy about it, but he said
it's fine, but you're grounded.
And I'm like, okay. The thing too is, like, I never actually got, like, grounded. But, like, I would get grounded, but then
Grounded was a concept.
yeah, like, it was like the word that they would use, because it's like, you're in trouble. But I never actually got grounded, and like, the thing that they were trying to ground me from was going to the roller rink that we used to go to every Friday and Saturday. And I still went. Because I don't know why I was a bad kid. I was such a bad kid. Like, what the fuck? And anyway, so my dad was like, yeah, whatever. So he ended up actually getting, like, an aquarium tank. He got, like, all the stuff for, like, them to, you know.
And hopefully didn't fill it with water.
Why, we're not supposed to?
With mice?
Yeah, why? How do they drink?
They don't fill the aquarium with water.
Oh, no! I was like, what?
Of course we did. These mice are just...
That's the story. no, I did not fill the crib with water. No, I guess I never really thought about like the lifespan of a mouse. I didn't even really know what to feed these things. I think I just kind of like gave it what I thought a mouse would want to eat, which usually mice like cheese in like cartoons and stuff, right? You know? And because I was always at my friend's house, I was never there to actually take care of them. So my dad would, you know, occasionally like go in and check in on them, make sure, you know, nobody's escaped or anything like that. He knew how many there were. I did name all of them. For some reason, I think I named one of them Andrew. I think I named it like after like one of my like boyfriends or something like that. It was really weird. So this one day, I get a phone call whilst I'm at my friend's house. My hair looks amazing, by the way. I get a phone call and he's like, so I just, I went into your room and, it smelled really bad in there, so I turned your light on. I look over and I see that, most of your mice are dead. And I'm like, oh no, that's not good. So, I think 5 will survived though. Obviously because I wasn't there to take care of them, you know, they died. But
they died peacefully?
I want to say yes.
That's good.
I don't know because I wasn't there because I'm a bad pet mom. So my dad was like, look, like, I don't want any more of these, like, in the house. Like, there's 2 more that, like, they were still alive. The little, it was, like, this little container that we took them home in when we initially got them. And I ended up giving it to my boyfriend at the time. And they were fine to take it. And then I guess what ended up happening was, one of them died. Shocker. And the other one escaped. I remember he was telling me what happened to one of them. He said that like ever since it escaped, all they hear is like little like and like because they lived in an apartment. And so this one time, like, I'm actually at his house and I was like really sick. I had like a bad ear infection and his parents said that I could spend the night there. I mean, like, I had a really bad fever, really bad ear infection. I was like just so sick. And I'm trying to sleep and all I'm hearing is little rustling sounds and I'm like, that's all I heard though. Because apparently it was between like the floorboards or whatever, like underneath. Because like I said, they lived in an apartment, so I guess it must have gotten somewhere, or it was like basically like under them, or like in some kind of wall or something. I don't know where it was, but yeah, that's all we ever heard. And then silence. And then they're
still there.
They're just like giant now.
Watchful protectors.
Exactly. I got another story.
I was 19 years old, and it was my first time moving out to a place with roommates. So I was very excited. Shortly after moving in, I found out I was pregnant. Ta-da! As a celebration, my 2 gay BFFs, they worked at a pet store. They gifted me 2 gerbils to take care of, and they're like, you can practice being a mom. I'm like, oh, thank you.
Because gerbils and like babies are totally the same, right? Like exactly the same.
Oh boy. So I have these gerbils and I named them Sam Crow and Courtney Love. They were both male.
Even though, you know what Courtney?
Yeah, I didn't know that yet, but she was a drag queen. She, gender is fluid. However, a few nights when I was sleeping, I would hear them going at it. So, gay gerbils.
Gerbils are nocturnal too, right?
Yeah, so it would be the middle of the night that they were, boning and doing their thing. I worked at a bar as a bartender, so I'd be working really late nights till like 2, 3 a.m. And I started noticing the gerbils were acting weird. Like they were jumping and hitting the roof of their cage, like really angrily, and I'm like, what the hell? Whatever.
Domestic dispute or what?
Domestic dispute, yes, probably. Being dramatic. So one night I went to work, and I come home, and it's like, 3 in the morning, and Courtney Love is scattered all over the cage. Like, these 2 fought each other to death, and Courtney Love was, like, ripped open, and it was ghastly. And I couldn't find Sam Crow, and he was under his, like, rock thing. So, like, I very reluctantly picked up the rock thing, and his whole eye and, like, face was torn off, and he was, like, hanging on. He was, like, still trying to, like, crawl a bit, and I was like, oh my fucking god, what do I do here? Like, all my roommates were sleeping, and like I was like, do I put down this hamster And like, how would I do that? Like, do I get a rock? I don't want it to suffer. And so I did what I think is probably even worse. I just put the rock back on and I went to sleep. I know, it's like the worst thing I've ever done, but like I couldn't like take it outside and smash it or like, so like I woke up in the morning, he had passed away. So there was just this bloodbath of a cage that I had to deal with. I got one of my roommates to help me and I didn't know how to get them out. So we used chopsticks. Get them out and put them in a bag, and my roommate didn't want me storing them in the freezer.
I mean, that's kind of fair though.
That's fair, but it was winter outside, so I just put them just outside, just in the snow kinda. Like,
that is a thing that Canadians do tend to do. We like to store, like, when we have no freezer space, we just put it outside. So.
Yeah. And I was like, okay, and I'll figure out what to do with them in a bit. And then like, I was just freaking out because like, oh my god, I'm gonna be a terrible mother.
Oh my god!
That was like the worst experience. I'm like, did I handle this right? What happened? Oh my god, like that was just... I'm not gonna get any more gerbils. I've got some stuffed animals. They are very low maintenance and I can just live with that. So rest in peace, Sam Crow, Courtney Love, Martini, that was his name.
Aww. Susie was the hamster, and then I think one of them was Andrew and one of them was Fievel, and the rest of them I don't remember.
Andrew, Fievel, and the Funky Bunch. Rest in peace to all.
They were like real ones, so I don't know what that was, but if you enjoyed these stories or were also, if you were traumatized in any way, sorry, if you liked what you saw and were entertained in any way, shape, or form, give this video a thumbs up. And you can leave a comment if you have any traumatic or not so traumatic, but just like funny, like pet stories, whatever. Tell us your pet story.
Don't top me.
Nobody can, so it's not even possible. And yeah, so see you again some other time. Alright, bye. You look like Italian, Greek, something. What is your heritage?
Ukrainian and Scottish. I'm like 50-50.
That is literally not any of the ones I just said you look like.
Bit my ass once.
Ow.
Like just at my ass.
I just hate your ass.
Didn't eat my ass. It was on the side. It was the cheek.